even his sword and his bow and his belt. What did that mean? What was the symbolism here? What do you think? Jonathan took off his armor, his robe, his weaponry, which he only had, and he gave it to David. What do you think the symbolism is here? He's going to serve David. And he made a covenant with David. He says, I will serve you. Here, take my inheritance, take the thing that was mine. I know that God has anointed you. Here it is. Here's my sword. Here's my armor. Here's my belt. What kind of man is Jonathan? No jealousy. No, Jonathan, by the way, I believe was fit to be a great king. He was fit to be a great king. But he never questioned that once. He went, God anointed you, I will submit to that. And I will serve you. What a man of God. Incredible. Jonathan makes this covenant and gives us loyalty to his brother. And I think this speaks to us as we look at our own lives, because without realizing it, we get injustice. We see things that really dig us the wrong way because people are always selfish and manipulative in our life. How do we respond straight away? The natural instinct is, all right, anger, or I'm going to get that person back. But that is not the way of a man or woman of God. That's not it. To have the lens on that these guys had was God is in control in everything. And I will submit to whatever that is, whatever that looks like. And one of the things I look for in ministry is when people come into the church and they say to me, I want to be a leader. I want to be in charge of this thing. I get a red flag straight away. A true leader says to me, I'll mop the floor. That's how I know you're a leader. They'll come to me and say, how can I help in any way? I'll get rid of wipe the benches. That's a leader. Jesus says, I have not come to be served, but to what? Serve. And to give my life as a ransom for many. True leadership, true influence is servant leadership, is humility, is putting others before yourself. And that is what Jonathan had. Jonathan was a man of loyalty and commitment to God. And as their story goes on, Saul then gets jealous of David. David goes out, he's conquest after conquest, he beats the enemy. And when he's coming back, there's this scene where all the women are shouting, Saul has killed his thousands, but David has killed his what? Tens of thousands, and then Saul's like, what? Why are they, and he gets jealous because of course it's all about him. And at this point he starts to look at David differently, and he was meant to marry Saul's daughter, and he tries to manipulate that, and this whole situation goes on that for many years to come. Saul then basically is out to kill David. Now, Jonathan believes in his father. Jonathan still isn't quite committed or on the position where he thinks his father is lost fully yet. And there's this interesting scene in the scriptures where Jonathan and David are meant to go to a feast. The Jews have many feasts through the year. They're meant to go to this feast. And Saul's already at the feast, and David says to Jonathan, look, I don't want to go to this feast. And Jonathan says, don't worry about it. My dad doesn't want to kill you. And David says, look, Jonathan, I think you've got some rose-colored glasses on, man. Like, your dad wants to kill me, I'm telling you. And Jonathan says, look, just come along anyway. He says, look, Jonathan, let's make a deal. You go first to the feast, and you say to your dad, if your dad asks where I am, just say, I've gone to Bethlehem, I had to do some stuff. Like David's gone to Bethlehem. And if he reacts angrily, I know that he probably wants to kill him. But if he's like, yeah, that's fine, then I know there's probably not anything issue there. And he says, and we'll know this because when you come out, you'll shoot a bow, and they have this sort of little symbol between them that they would know this is happening. And sure enough, Jonathan goes to this party, and he's there, and Saul's there. And sure enough, Saul's like, where's David? And Jonathan says, we had to go to Bethlehem, I told him it's okay. And he's like, gets angry straight away. And Jonathan's like, surely my father's not that bad. And then it gets to the point where he's like, where's David? He should be here. And he says, I'm done with that guy. And he gets angry. And Jonathan starts to defend David. This is a tricky situation. And Saul has a pretty short temper. He's already thrown spears at a lot of people, by the way. You don't really want to go to a party with a guy who's drinking. And he's always got this spear. And straight away, he throws a spear at Jonathan. And Jonathan just says, what has David done? And he says, I will kill the son of Jesse. I will kill David. And Saul makes it clear that that's his heart intent. And Jonathan gets up angrily and just leaves the feast and goes out. This beautiful scene, and it's just heartbreaking that David, he knows that David's going to be king, but his dad has just lost honor and lost respect and lost loyalty to trust that God is doing this. And he goes out and they meet in the field and they weep, and it says they hug and they embrace. And this beautiful scene where Jonathan makes this covenant. He says, I want to be here with you, and you and I will serve you right into the ages. I'm here for you. I will defend you against my father. What a beautiful scene. Now I want you to notice that Jonathan walks this amazing road where he doesn't disrespect his father. He doesn't put his father down. He still lives the rest of his life still honouring his father, but also honouring David to be the king. What an amazing friend. I want to ask you a quick question. This is something that I ask myself on a regular basis. How do you know? What's the indicators that you know that your friend is a godly friend? Because you've all got friends in your life, hopefully. How do you know that friend is a godly friend? Or a good friend, I might add. I want to let you talk about your table for just a minute. How do you know? What's the indicators that you have a godly friend around? You guys can talk about